Hello, my friends, and welcome to Youth Potential, a channel dedicated to helping young people with mental health problems. I have two books available, 102 Distraction Techniques and Self-Harm to Self-Harmony. Both of these books are only available on Amazon. Thank you very much for watching this video. Hello, my friend, Scott here representing Youth Potential. So today I'm going to be answering a very common question that more or less often goes unanswered. First of all, forgive me for this weird setup that I've got. It's literally the best that I can do with what I've got. But I think I'm going to be able to deliver a really good explanation. And this is all based off of 15 years experience that I've had with mental illness on and off. And also I've spent like the last nearly 10 years now researching the mind from all different angles. And what I'm going to show you today is literally one of the most important lessons I ever learnt. Helps me understand myself, helps me understand my mind, my behaviours, and how I can just live like a better life with several mental health conditions. And I'm going to share that with you today. There's going to be a lot of stuff that you've seen on my video, Why is Self-Harm So Addictive? And also my video on recovery, why I don't aim for it personally. Okay, so stay with me, it's going to be good. Right, so the first thing when it comes to recovery, hopefully this should all come out nicely by the end of the video. So when it comes to recovery, I think that one of the big problems is that most people have misconceptions about recovery. Forgive my spelling, I'm not very good at it. People have a lot of misconceptions about recovery. They often think it means that when you're recovered, for example, you're going to be completely free of negative thoughts, emotions and behaviours. Some people don't even have a clue what recovery is. They can't even picture it in their mind. And that's something that I totally agree with. For me, someone who lives with autism, the way I understand recovery is very different to most people. But I think this understanding that I've accumulated over the last few years is, well, it's life-changing for me, and I think it can be for you as well, as long as you try and understand, practice, and keep an open mind. So yeah, a lot of people think recovery is a destination. That's a misconception, but it's not. It's not a destination, okay? Some people even think it's a journey. We're getting closer, but not close enough. What I say is a lifestyle. Recovery is a lifestyle. It's not a destination, it's not even a journey, it's a lifestyle. Your mental health is with you throughout your entire life. So we need to be living accordingly. Okay. What I'm going to show you now is a stickman illustration to show you, and you've probably seen this before if you've watched one of my other videos. This is just a simple diagram of the mind and body. I didn't come up with this. This is Dr. Thurman Fleet's work back in somewhere between the 20s and 30s of the last decade. So what we have is the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. Okay, that's our mind, that's our body. Our mind is broken into these two parts. Now, the reason it becomes a habit, why recovery becomes so difficult, and why addiction to anything destructive can be so difficult to get away from. Now, let's just say, for example, you are struggling with self-harm, okay? Now, in your conscious mind, self-harm is going to be dominant, okay? You're going to be thinking about self-harm a lot. Whether you want to self-harm or whether you don't want to self-harm, you are. And the repetition of those destructive thoughts in the conscious mind come down into the subconscious mind. And that is where the addiction forms, okay? Let me give you maybe another illustration of conscious and subconscious. Now, subconsciously, we are breathing all the time. But as soon as we try to think about breathing, I urge you to do it now. Think about breathing, and then it changes. It becomes conscious. You've got to consciously inhale and exhale. But if we had to do that all the time, it would be exhausting. So our minds are very clever, and they've developed this system that if something gets repeated enough times, it becomes in our subconscious mind. So that is where the habit, the addiction, whatever you want to call it, that's where it is. Okay? But this is positive and negative as well. It doesn't always have to be something negative that gets in our subconscious. It could be something positive. Like, for example, learning to ride a bike. We consciously think about riding a bike until it gets to a subconscious level. And we don't have to consciously think about riding a bike. We just do it because our subconscious mind is dictating that. So yeah, that's how you form habits. And this is basically why recovery is so hard, because it is a habit. Not recovery, but the struggles. You know, we think, which then leads us to feel, which then leads us to act, as in take action, behave. I just dropped my pen on the floor. I don't edit these videos. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find my cloth. Just going to quickly wipe this over. It's all right, you can always go back on the video if you want to see it again. Okay, so through that habit that we've created for ourselves, unconsciously or subconsciously, from there on out, let's just put self-harm as an example, but we could have, you know, depressive thoughts. Okay, and it becomes a cycle, yeah? So we think, maybe we've consciously chosen to think something, or someone's said something to us, and that makes us think. And then that becomes an influence on our thoughts, which then becomes influence on our behaviour. And then we go back to the start again, pretty much all the time. So how do we change this? How do we make recovery something easier to obtain? How do we get out of these habits, these self-destructive habits of being miserable all the time, self-harming, or doing, it could be a number of activities that are harmful to your body or your emotional state. So for us to live more meaningful and better lives, we have got to break this cycle somewhere. We have to break it. Okay, there's no doubt about it. And that, thinking. Now, I know what you're going to say at this point. I can't control all my thoughts. And that's fine. I can't control all my thoughts. However, I can choose thoughts as well as responding to things, okay? I can choose to think whatever I want. It may be difficult on one day, it may be easy on another. But to get out of this habit, that's where it's got to start, okay? So, if you've been on my Instagram, watched any of my live streams, you know I talk about daily goals, and I'll do that in another video. But it all starts here, okay? You've got to think differently. You have the power to consciously choose your thoughts. You can't choose all of them, but you can choose thoughts. Does that make sense? Sometimes your subconscious just generates unpleasant thoughts. You can't necessarily choose them. However, you can choose how to react to them. But you can also, just choose random thoughts. I mean, right now I'm thinking of a black cat. It's a choice. But there might be another time where my emotions aren't feeling very good, and they're going to generate some nasty thoughts that I don't get to choose, but I can choose how I react to them most of the time. Okay? So then when we get the right thoughts in our mind, then they start to manipulate our emotions. You know, we can have desire, the desire for a better life or to be in control. And then obviously it affects our actions. And then we get into a more constructive cycle. So one thing I just want to summarize with, and that's kind of the point of this whole video really, is that recovery is an abstract concept. Okay, it's hard to understand, it's hard to measure, it's hard to be realistic over, and that's why I believe it's it's abstract and misleading. Okay, it's a lifestyle. You have got to do what it takes. If you want to be in more control of your life and your emotions and your thoughts and your mental well-being, that your understanding of this needs to change. Okay, it's not a destination, it's not a journey, it's a lifestyle. Okay, and don't get me wrong, changing yourself isn't going to happen overnight. It took me, God knows how long, I couldn't even pinpoint it. But it is possible, all right? I live with autism, borderline personality disorder, depression, anxiety, and I've struggled with self-harm on and off for 15 years. But it is possible. I still experience my symptoms. I still struggle, okay? I'm not going to act like I'm really happy all the time and I never think negatively. That is not true. That is not realistic. I am much more realistic these days, okay? I can wake up, plan my day, and be happy. Don't get me wrong, I may feel some anxiety symptoms along the way, some depressive symptoms along the way. I may even think about killing myself. But because I've got myself into this habit now where I understand myself better and I understand my conditions better, I'm able to use that information, those facts, those experiences to take better control of myself and my life. I'm going in the right direction. Okay, self-harm has been minimal. I haven't done it for months. But yeah, I just think honestly, if you think recovery is being happy all the time, never self-harming, always feeling good, that's not what recovery is. Okay? It's a lifestyle. A lifestyle that you can have. I know if I can do it, anyone can do it. All right? It just takes practice. Thank you for watching.